the floor. Okay, the floor is being coated with what? Tzalot baroshim. Barosh is a very common fruitless tree here in Israel, and he's taking planks of these eitz barosh, and he's making a wooden floor. Wow, it seems to be very, very special, very pretty. And now we get into further details. Remember, we opened up the chapter with something bombastic. 480 years have passed from Yetziat Mitzrayim to the beginning of the building of the Beit HaMikdash. Be aware, we're not going into the nitty-gritty. We're getting into all the fine details of the Beit HaMikdash. Of course, it's exciting. Of course, it's special. But at the same time, here you got to go into the details, because this is going to bring the Shekhinah. What will bring the divine presence? If everything is done according to practice, according to command. Here we don't see the command, but we're assuming, like Chazal say, Shlomo got all the blueprints from David HaMelech. David HaMelech received the blueprints from Samuel, Shmuel the prophet. Here in Pasuk Tet Zayin, verse 16, Vayiven et esrim amma mi'arketei habayit betzalot arazim min hakarka ad hakirot. Okay, if we're talking here about the Holy of Holies, okay, just a little, very simple. Remember, we were told already that the Holy of Holies, which we'll see in a moment, nicknamed Devir, is square, 20 length on 20 width, as opposed to the Kodesh, which we'll see is 20 by 40. 20, same 20 width and 40. Try to notice as we're reading that we're going to notice a different height. We're in chapter 6 and Pasuk 16. So, Vayiven et esrim amma, from Yarketei Habayit, from the edge of the Kodesh HaKodeshim, what is he building inside the Holy of Holies? Bitzalot arazim, planks made out of cedar wood. From where to where? Min hakarka ad hakirot, from the floor. He is now making the cedar wood all the way up to the ceiling through the walls of the Beit HaMikdash. And Vayiven lo mibayit lidvir, the Kodesh HaKodeshim. Even though there are times we use the word Devir to refer to the Holy of Holies. And why is the Holy of Holies called Devir? Hadibur Eloki. The divine word of Hashem comes from God to the Holy of Holies, as it states in the book of Shemot, and therefore we often call the Kodesh, HaKodeshim, the Devir. But here, we're talking about the wall in front of the Devir. We have a mechitza that separates the Kodesh from the Kodesh HaKodeshim. That's apparently, according to the commentaries, what the Tanakh means here. David is building a Devir, a mechitza, separating the Kodesh and the Kodesh HaKodeshim. Obviously, it's called Devir because it's to the opening of the Kodesh HaKodeshim, and that's where God's decrees come. Thank you so much. Okay? That's the coating of the inside of the Kodesh HaKodeshim done by Shlomo Melech. Wall planks, planks of wood, so too cedar wood for the floor. Furthermore, Pasuk Yud Zayin, let's go to the Kodesh. V'arba'im ba'ama haya bayit. What is he referring to? What is Arba'im Amot? We said that is the Kodesh. Okay, you have the Melachim Aleph, chapter 6, verse 17. Here, Pasuk Yud Zayin.
I don't get it.
Melachim Aleph. Right.
16.
So I'm talking about the Pasuk, the verse. The Pasuk. This is the Perek number, and these are the Psukim. These are the verses. Where are we up to? Do you see it?
It's a Vav.
We're in Vav and Pasuk Yud Zayin. So, here what do we see? The Arba'im Amah was the length of the Kodesh. And what is it called? Hu Eichal Lefanai. The common name for the Kodesh, okay, is called the Heichal, the shrine. So, what do we have? We learned about Shlomo. It was already described. We have a corridor called a ulam, which we says like a mavoa. It's the entrance, something very nice, something very tall, 20 on 10, 10 on 20, I'm sorry. And then we went into the Kodesh, which we called right now the Heichal. The Heichal, we said its length is double the width, 40 amot by 20 amot. And the Heichal is the what? The way to get to this divider, the Mechitza. Mechitza in the language of Chaz is called Amat Traksin. Why is it called Amat Traksin? Because it had the width of a wall of 1 Amah. And that, we just learned, was coated with planks of cedar wood. So here we have the 40 Amot of the Heichal, which leads to the Amat Traksin, and which leads to the Kodesh HaKodeshim. And now the Tanakh bothers to tell us what type of landscape artist is being used, what type of ingenuity, aesthetic walls are made. Look, for instance, Pasuk Yud verse 18. Ve'erez el habayit, penima, inside, on the stone walls of the Beit HaMikdash, what are they coated with? Erez, cedar wood. Miklat pkaim, they're carved out. Miklat is carved out. Legalef, Rashi says. So we have gilufim, we have carved out styles of forms and fashions, flowery things, pturei tzitzim. What are we talking about? The Hyatt Hotel? The King David Hotel? What's going on here? Hakol erez, everything is made with wooden decorating inside. Ein evenira, you can't even see the original stone wall. Everything's Why is the Tanakh so detailed in telling this? Furthermore, Pasuk Yutet, Udivir betoch habayit mipnim ha'ichin. We said we're talking about the separating wall. Okay? Separating wall. Let's move the table this way. Okay? Maybe. Okay? Okay? The Dvir betoch habayit mipnim ha'ichin. That is the separating wall between the Kodesh and the Kodesh HaKodeshim. Letitain sham et aron brit Hashem. What is going to be the other side of the separating wall? Aron brit Hashem. Just like we learned in the Mishkan, in the book of Shemot, chapter 25. So too, here we didn't have the ulam in the Mishkan. We had the Kodesh, we had the Kodesh HaKodeshim, and we had a separating wall, which was a mechitza, to separate between the two. And of course, the ark will be on the other side of this separating wall, inside the Kodesh HaKodeshim.
The veer is the separating wall? Separating
wall here, yes. Now, what would be in front of the Devir? V'lifnei Devir, esrim ha'ma'orak, Pasuk 20, v'esrim ha'marocha. We have a square area. Lifnei Devir meaning to the Kodesh HaKodeshim, right? In front of the Devir, the Kodesh HaKodeshim is square. Do you see it? Esrim ha'ma'orach, esrim ha'rochav. And now I want to ask you a question. Esrim amah komato. The height is 20 amah. What did we see at the beginning? The beginning of the chapter. What was the height of the Beit HaMikdash? Did you see it? Pasuk bet. Find the answer. Ushloshim amah komato. So by definition, we have now a split height of this last building. Magnificently, the corridor and the Kodesh had a height of 30 amah. 30 amah is approximately, 15 meters? 15 meters is about, 5 floors high? Approximately. As opposed to that, the Devir is 20. It's a lower height. Question is, why? What does it reflect? What is it coming to explain? Why is it lower than the others? Nonetheless, until we get to an answer, okay? It's in other words, from the Kodesh, the ceiling goes down from 30 amot to 20 amot.
Which holds the Aron Abrit.
The Kodesh Kodeshim, the ceiling declines from 30 amot to 20 amot. Over the Kodesh HaKodeshim, which has the Aron Abrit, which is housing the tablets and the Sefer Torah.
Can I learn to be humble from that?
Yes.
In order to get Torah?
Absolutely. So that's what you want to suggest, that it's lower because of that. The point here is, look and tell me what is coating the walls of the Kodesh HaKodeshim. Vayitzapeo zahav sagur. We're going to see in a pasuk from now that there's regular zahav and there's zahav sagur. Zahav sagur is top quality gold, the best. Whereas other gold that Shlomo is coating other walls is regular zahav. But the point is, it's fabulous. Okay, and you go into, imagine you're going into one of the top hotels or in a mansion, you see the draperies, you see the gold, and now you're going to the Beit HaMikdash? What is this, something? Is this external honor or something superficial honor? Why is the gold, the beauty here? What role does it play as far as, we never saw something like this in the Mishkan, okay? And here, the prophet is bothering to what? Specify how gorgeous it is. Look at the coatings and look at everything else. Furthermore, Pasuk Kafal 21, Vayitzaf Shlomo et habayit mipnim zahav sagur. So too, the inner walls of the Beit HaMikdash are provided with what? Top-notch gold. Vayaber barakotav zahav lefnei advir vayitzapeu zahav. What he's doing also, he's putting like chains of gold on this wall that's separating the two parts. The Tanakh continues, and we're getting now to an ending inside the chapter. Vet kol habayit, we're told, what is kol habayit? If the devir is being coated with top gold, kol habayit means the ulam and the heichal. What is it being coated with? Zahav. What kind of zahav? Regular gold. Atom kol habayit, everything. All the walls are coated with gold. Okay? V'chol hamizbech asher lidvir tzipa zahav. Which mizbech are we talking about? Which mizbech is right in front of the devir? The ketoret. Now, the ketoret, we know, is usually, let me just show you what I wanted to say. The ketoret, now, what is the Mizbach HaKtoret nicknamed in the Torah? Nechoshet or Zav?
Nechoshet.
The Ketoret? No.
Oh.
The Ketoret is called the golden altar. Okay? That's right. So what are we learning here? On the golden altar, what does he have? He has wooden planks of erez, and on that, he's coating it with gold. Okay? Now, it seems that this is a new Mizbeach. Where is the old Mizbeach that was made 480 years ago? Who made the old Mizbeach 480 years ago? Huh?
Moshe Rabbeinu?
Moshe Rabbeinu ordered it from Bitzalel to produce it. However, when we get to see... No, 1 second. So it was not. What was taken into captivity was the Aron, but we never saw that the Mizbech was destroyed. The Rashi asked the question, what's going on with the Mizbach HaKtorah that Moshe Rabbeinu had made? Where is it? Why was it put into Genizah? Because here we're going to learn that the measurements of this Mizbach HaKtorah is double the measurement of what Moshe Rabbeinu had ordered from Bitzalel. There was 1 amah on 1 amah, and here it's going to be double the size. And the answer is, the Gra says, okay, the Vilna Gra has brought that Shlomo Melech wanted to add onto the area of the Mizbach HaKtoret, because everything here is double. We see the area of the Beit HaMikdash here is double the area that was produced by Moshe Rabbeinu 480 years ago. So since all of the Mikdash is double the size, it's 60 on 20 instead of 30 on 10. Therefore, our Moshe Shlomo Melech has a larger size Mizbach HaKtoret, and again, it's a golden one, built with wooden planks, and that's covered with gold. Fabulous, fabulous. So if we stop one moment and ask ourselves regarding the beauty, the matters that we have here, and we'll be able to answer a further question, because when we get to the Kruvim and we learn about the size of the Kruvim, which we'll get to in a moment, we ask ourselves, does Judaism disdain arts and crafts? Does Judaism look down upon aesthetics, beautiful things? Is there spiritual significance?
If it's devoid of spirituality, and just for the sake of beauty, like in ancient Greece or these places,
that's right.
Without any spirituality, then it's...
That's exactly right. In other words, what Shlomo HaMelech says in Mishlei Lamed Aleph, Sheker Achein Vehevel Hayofi, okay? Where there he's talking that beauty, when is it in vanity? When it's not backed up with spiritual content, with values, with ideals, with Torah and mitzvot. But here we're talking, the same Shlomo Melech that talks about Hevel HaYofi, here we have such a description of the most beautiful things, wooden planks and golden chains and coated with gold and so on and so forth. So we know that Chazal say, just like a Talmid Chacham should also, let's say, have a very nice looking wife, Ken isha na'a marchiva dato shel adam. Kelim na'im also marchivim et datam shel adam. We also know there's room for kelim. If it's going to be an ability to widen your understanding of Torah, and there can be beauty and Torah at the same place. So by all means, if we're talking about the Beit HaMikdash, which is the holiest of all buildings, the most useful Torah structure that we have to get close to God through Korbanot, through Avodat Kohen Gadol Yom Kippurim, Dafke here, we're seeing that Avodat Hashem can be represented with beautiful things in the world. Gold and draperies, but we didn't get to the draperies yet. And in a moment we're going to get to this Kruvim, which is something outstanding in size. And therefore, all this is part of a system. In Eretz Yisrael, there's certainly room for physical beauty to represent the inner beauty that a Jew can reach in the service of God. When we're in the Galut and we're small and we're working on ourselves not to be influenced by outer, superficial, external things, then usually matters of beauty are not touched upon. But here in the land of Israel, where nature has holiness, HaKedusha Shabbateva, right? Here, the nature of the land has holiness. The physical character traits of the land has holiness. So too in the Beit HaMikdash. Here inside the Beit HaMikdash, the fact that the inner side, the inner walls that Shlomo is building, he's coating it with wooden panels and coating that with gold, and the best gold, and he's adding beauty. He's adding something fabulous, because here we're dealing with Kedusha. Here we're dealing with Kedusha. Now, tell me, Bevakasha, read the next psukim, and tell me if you can answer the following question regarding the Kruvim. Okay? First, I want you to read in Book of Shmot. What do we learn about the Kruvim? Let's see it together. Here we have Shmot Kafeh, letter Aleph. I'm pointing to it. Vasita kaporet zav tahor, amatayim v'chetzi orka, v'ama v'chetzi rachba. The kaporet, as you remember, is the covering of
The ark.
the ark.
Yeah.
And it's made out of pure gold. And we see that the length is what? 2.5
Amot.
by 1.5 amot. Then upon it, what is built? Vasita shnayim kruvim. You have to make 2. Out of what? Zav. Miksha.
One piece.
Hammered out.
They're going to be made out of one solid bar of gold. You can take a chisel and chisel it from the miksha of the gold. Taseltam, you're going to build these 2 kruvim, mishnei ketzot hakaporet. From where?
Both
From
sides, the both edges of the...
So the kruvim will be built from the edges of the covering of the ark. We have an aron. The covering is called kaporet. The kruvim will be built from the edges.
It's separate from the ark, though. It's like
No, it's connected to the edge of the kaporet. That's what it says here. Vasei kruv echad mikatza mizeh, uchruv echad mikatza mizeh. From where? Min hakaporet. Tasu ta kruvim oshnei ktsotav. So, in the Mishkan, okay, are we told here what is the size of the kruvim? Huh? No. Okay. However, let's now go to the source in our chapter here. In our chapter here, what are we told about the kruvim? What are we told about the kruvim? Huh? Read please, Pasuk Kav Gimel, 23, 24, 25, and tell me what is the size of the kruvim.
That's his height.
So you should know that the kruvim of the kaporet inside the Mishkan, we didn't exactly read what we were supposed to read there. The length and the width of the kruvim is the length and the width of the kaporet. Again, we didn't mention that. The length and the width of the kruvim in the Mishkan is the length and the width of the kruvim, meaning 2.5 on 1.5 amot. Now tell me, the kruvim that Shlomo has made, is it made from gold? Yes or no? No. Yes? No. What pasuk does it say it's made from wood? Vayas tavir shnei kruvim atzei shemen. Some say, so the Targum says be'emet da'atei zeta. However, other Mefarshim talk about that it's made out of eitz oren. Do you know the fruit of the oren? No, that's the alon. Really? That's snowberim. You know the snowberim? What do they call it? How do you say it's snowberim? I don't know. They're called snowberim?
It's
a pine nuts.
A pine tree. They're pine nuts. The nuts of the tree, which are very expensive to buy, snowberim, they're full of oil. The Targum, and Rashi goes according to the Targum, so we're talking about really eitz zayit. However, eitz oren is a likely usage of wood for carpentry. It's always used, the oren. We have furniture today, people build from oren, from eitz oren. So number one, it's not gold, it's made out of eitz. Number two, the dimensions of the kruvim here are what?
10, what is it, 10? It doesn't say the measurement.
Sure it does. Pasuk Kav Gimel, 23. What is the dimension of the kruvim here? Eser amot. Would you believe it? The height of the wooden kruvim are eser amot. Beautiful. That's going to be a big difference. That's 5 meters. It's like almost 2 floors high. Something spectacular in size.
Bigger than the ark itself.
Absolutely. Furthermore, Eser amot is the koma. What about the width? V'chamesh amot k'naf hakruv echad. V'chamesh amot k'naf hakruv hashinit. Do you hear that? How wide is the kruvim? 5 amot.
It's one wing.
That's one wing. So it has 2 wings. So and you have 4. You see, you have 4 wings there, right? 4.
Oh yeah, right.
4 times it says 2. Are there 2 built there? Yes. Vayas bedvir shnei kruvim. So let's now multiply it. 4 wings of kruvim multiplied by each 5 amot.
The whole width of the Kurashim.
Oh, that's what we're going to ask. The dimension will be, okay, if their wing extension was, fill in answer question 1a, the size of the kruvim we said are what? Is 5 amot for each kanaf. Whereas in the Mishkan we said they were just the size of the kaporet. Okay? So if their wing extension was what? 5 amot. Okay? And that's 5 amot. And there are 4 of these. That's 4 times 5 is 20. What did we say? The Devir. We'll call the Devir the nickname for the Kodesh HaKodeshim, even though here we're using it as the wall. What was the width of the Kodesh HaKodeshim? 20 amot. So what? So then, how did we have a problem?
It was just the Kodesh HaKodeshim which was transported also? Or no?
No. Here's a different. We're building the Kodesh. We're learning about it now. They're building Kodesh HaKodeshim. This is not this.
What was the one that was transported?
That was in the Mishkan. Now we're saying it's different. If we're saying 20 amot is the width of the expansion of 4 wings, that means it's taking the entire width of the Kodesh Kodeshim. Then we have one problem. The body of the Kruvim is not mentioned here. Right? The body of the Kruvim is not mentioned here. So how do we deal with that? Please read with me, letter Bet, a Gemara Masechet Baba Batra, page Tzaditet, Amud Aleph, you see? Devar ze misoret biyadeinu me'avotenu. We have a misoret, okay, from our, whoever's handing down the oral Torah, follow the next words, Makom, Aron, Ukruvim, Eino min Amida. Okay? The place that the Holy Ark takes cannot have a measurement. It's not part of the measurement. It's something supernatural. As if the Holy Ark, and now the Kruvim are not on the edges of the Kaporet, like we saw. Where are they? Sure.
Wait, what? Maybe 27?
First of all, you see in 27, the wing extension of the Kruvim touched both walls. Okay? But where do you see that they're on the floor? I thought I saw that they're on the floor. Do you see that? Where? Which pasuk? Vet karka bayit tzipa zav. No, that's the covering of it. I'm sorry. It's not here. It's in Divrei Yamim. In Divrei Yamim, Ezra Sefer writes, Divrei Yamim Bet, chapter 3, quote, Raglem ala karka ufnehem labayit. Their feet are on the floor and not at the edges. So we here can summarize so far several major differences between the Aron Kruvim of the Mishkan and the Aron the Kruvim of Shlomo Melech. The Aron Kruvim of the Mishkan were the size of the covering of the Kaporet. And they were 2.5 on 1.5 on the edges of the covering. Here, the Kruvim have wide wing expansion that goes all the way to the wall, to the each wall on each side, and their feet are on the floor. And if they're taking 20 amot of the width, then where is the actual size of the Aron HaKodesh? Answer: it's not part. In other words, you can't measure it. What do you mean you can't measure it? It's like, it's there physically, yet it's like that, not taking up space. It's part of the supernatural world. And therefore, that's exactly what let's go back to that Gemara in letter Bet.
What is
Tanya, the Holy Ark itself that contains the Shnei Luchot HaBrit, and there's a Machlok in Gemara Batra, is the Sefer Torah on a shelf outside, or is the Sefer Torah inside the Aron, closed in there with the 2 Luchot? Nonetheless, what we just read now is a Gemara. The Gemara brings support from a Braita. Tanya Nami Hachi, there's a Braita that says the same thing. Aron, Shasa Moshe, Yesh Lo Revach Esramot L'chol Ruach V'Ruach. The Holy Ark, if you go to the right and left, or north and south of the Holy Kodesh, you're going to find that you have plenty of space to each side of the Ark when it was in the Mishkan of Moshe Rabbeinu. Whereas here, no. Amar Ravina or Shmuel, Kruvim b'nei Seimomdim. The Kruvim stand with a miracle. Shenemar, and he brings the pasuk that we
talk about in the Mishkan.
No, in the Beit HaMikdash. In the Beit HaMikdash, they stand as a miracle He brings the pasuk which we just read, the measurement, where there are 5 amot for each kanaf, for each wing expansion of the kruvim. 5 times 4 is 20. The entire width of the Holy of Holies is 20. Ela shma mina. So the Braita asks, Gufayu hechavu kaimi. So the body of the ark, where was it standing? Where is its measure? Answer, Benes hemayu amdim. Okay. So something's in a miracle. In other words, it's there physically, but it's not taking up space. And this certainly goes hand in hand with the idea that we're not dealing anything but the metaphysical world, where the metaphysical and physical world meets together in its highest level, the Kodesh HaKodeshim, which we all know is not even used to serve God, only once a year. When the Kohen Gadol goes inside there, and he has a special service of bringing blood and sprinkling blood on the Holy Ark, as we learn in Vayikra chapter Tet Zayin, as explained in the Mishnah Masechet Yoma, very good. Okay? It's really the meeting between Shamayim and Aretz, the meeting between the heavenly and the earthly. So maybe to reflect how heavenly it is, Chazal were amazed. What's going on here? Where's the measurement for the actual ark itself? Answer, it doesn't take up space. It's something metaphysical. Remember, it's not visited. What a very important part, I think, that we have to explain today, if we have time, is there are different understandings what the kruv represents. Remember, the term kruv is a head.
I thought it meant cabbage.
Why is cabbage called kruv? Because it has a head-like form. So that's why head of lettuce, head of cabbage, so too the head. We'll get more of that into tomorrow. One major question we should ask is, didn't God tell us not to make any images? Lo taseh lecha pesel v'chol tmuna.
But here God commands.
And here, of all places, in the holiest of places, we have an image, and so on and so forth. So we're raising this question, and the fine answer is there's a very fine line between idolatry and serving Hashem. Rabbi Yehuda Levi explains this in the Kuzari when he raises a question of such. When we had the sin of the Egel HaZahav, and people say, what do you want from us? Didn't God command to build kruvim, to build an altar? Don't we have today in our synagogues various items? You see this guy with the black shirt? He sometimes kisses these items. He moves his head down before these items. We see that in Judaism, we have physical structures, physical items that bring us closer to God. The answer is,
like what?
When?
Torah.
Sefer Torah, a mezuzah. So the answer is, the fine line is distinguished between commandment and ourselves taking the initiative. When people try to get closer to God by building some sort of golden structure to remind them of God, remind them Bechor Shur and Ox, the greatness of the tribe of Ephraim, and maybe make it with gold and serve it to get closer to God. It's a good idea, but God didn't command us to do it. So if we innovate a way to serve God and it's not the way Hashem told us to do, then that's a deviation. That is idolatry. But when Hashem says to build a golden ark in the Holy of Holies and build kruvim, what magnificent height did we read? Right? The entire area, the height was how much did we see? 10 amot? 10 amot. No, so it was 20 amot high, almost to the ceiling. Okay? Almost to the ceiling. That's something fantastic. Why? Because Hashem told us to do it. So that'll be the fine line in between these two matters. Furthermore, we'll ask and end today's show with the following question: How do we deal with the matter that the kruvim are angelic in form? What idea as if it comes to remind us of two angels. What idea is this coming to take us, to give us? What do we do with this idea? So we'll deal with this tomorrow, B'ezrat Hashem, and see a very famous Rambam in the Moreh Nevuchim, God willing.